Hello there, this is Coach Gochi. Welcome to Tortoise Tales. What if some of the most powerful leadership principles or lessons were never written in books, but were hidden inside African folk tales? For centuries, our ancestors taught us leadership through stories. And in every one of those stories, one character appears again and again. Yes, the tortoise. So I welcome you once again to Tortoise Tales, African wisdom for the modern day leader. Let me ask you a leadership question. What happens when a leader becomes convinced that he is the wisest in the room? What happens when he or she is convinced that nobody has more wisdom than he has or than she has? And it may sound harmless. Yeah, you're free to believe whatever you believe concerning yourself. But many leadership failures start at exactly that point. When no one can speak to you, when you cannot learn, or you have decided that you will only listen to a certain category of people, or maybe not even any category of people. All the wisdom, all the answers come from you. You know it all. Centuries ago, an African folktale illustrated this danger, the danger of I am the only one that has wisdom. All right, and it was illustrated through the story of the tortoise. One day, the tortoise came to the conclusion that he was the wisest creature in the whole wide world. But that belief was not enough for him, right? So he decided to ensure that nobody else had more wisdom than he did. So he began traveling. He went to cities, he went to towns, he went to villages, he went to forests, he inquired from elders, other animals, and every piece of wisdom that he could find, he took. And then he said to himself, if I can hide this wisdom, then nobody will ever be able to compete with me. I will have all wisdom. So he got a clay pot, and a large clay pot, and he said to himself, I will put all the wisdom that I have acquired into this clay pot, and I'll climb the highest tree that I can find, and I will hide the pot there. So all the wisdom that he got from elders, from animals, from the forests, from cities and from towns, he put into this clay pot, tied this clay pot to he tied it to the front of his stomach. And he began trying to climb the high tree. But but every time he tried to climb, the pot got in the way. So he kept slipping, he kept struggling, he kept failing, he kept falling. Now his youngest son was around him, and he kept watching his father trying to climb this tree. And after a while he said, Father, if you move the pot to your back, I think it'll be easier for you to climb that tree. The tortoise froze. He was shocked. A small child had just given him the answer he could not see. And yet he felt he had taken all the wisdom. So in anger and embarrassment and all the negative emotions that you can think about, he threw the pot to the ground and the pot shattered. And that's why you and I have wisdom, some measure of wisdom today. Nobody has it all in himself. And that is why the elders till today teach us that no one person holds all the wisdom. Now, this story is not about intelligence. No. It's about pride. The pride that quietly convinces leaders that they already know enough. The pride that convinces leaders that I don't need to listen to someone that is below me in hierarchy because he has nothing to teach me. There's nothing I can learn from him or her. But the problem is that the moment leaders begin to think that they know enough, the moment that they stop learning from others, it doesn't matter what level you're at in the hierarchy, you start undermining your leadership. Your leadership begins to shrink. Because the strongest leaders must remain curious and teachable. So, what is the inner throne lesson here? In this lesson, in this story, we can see clearly that in the center of the heart of tortoise sat a throne. On that throne was pride. Now, pride isolates leaders from insight, makes you unable to receive insight, even when it is sitting right in front of you. Now, it also makes feedback uncomfortable. And when those under you, or those in your team, or those around you see that you find feedback uncomfortable, they'll clam up. It makes correction feel like an attack. And if you are a leader and this resonates, then it means that there needs to be a shift. Because wisdom rarely belongs to one voice. Everybody, even the least unlikely person, can come up with something that is beneficial, that is worth learning, and that is wise. What's the executive application here? That leaders inside organizations often have this pattern showing up. They dismiss younger voices because they think, what does this newbie have to offer? Executives rely on the fact that they have evidence, that they have experience, and they have evidence to back up that experience. And therefore, they tend to ignore new perspectives. But many breakthroughs in organizations have been proven to come from the people closest to the work, not those who are high up in hierarchy, not the highest ones. No. Because even if you're an engineer as a CEO, that engineer lower down who is doing the work, working with the machines and coming up with the ideas, will probably have more to offer when it comes to engineering than you do. So wise leaders understand this. And they build cultures where ideas can rise from anywhere. They ensure that this is built in because they understand they don't have all the wisdom. So my coaching challenge to you this week is, where might pride be making you harder to teach? Is there any pride in you? Yeah, no, there's none, but maybe reflect on that a bit more. Where could pride, or where is pride making you harder to teach? Making it difficult for you to learn, making it difficult for you to access the resources that are in the room with you. And another question I'd like to ask is, when was the last time that someone junior to you shifted your thinking? When was the last time a junior said something to you and you said, that makes sense. There's some value in that. If that rarely happens where you are, then it signals something, that the environment that you have created, the culture that you have created, is not open. It is not psychologically safe. It is not inviting. It is not, the people do not feel free or safe enough to share their ideas or to speak what is on their heart. So what am I saying to you? That it's time to reflect. But it's also time to keep an eye on the tortoise. Watch the tortoise carefully, because sometimes the thing we believe we possess the most is the thing that we may be quietly losing. So until I come back again, this is Coach Gochi saying, take care and be that leader who has not allowed pride to sit comfortably on his inner throne. Bye-bye.